I would like to begin by saying that praying and fasting are both a private affair between you and God. Prayer and fasting are both an important part of your walk with Christ. Now, sometimes we will come across needs, situations, or circumstances that are especially great. We'll come face to face with obstacles or giants that have a whole different dimension to them. I'm not talking about demons or foot soldiers. I'm talking about dark forces and principalities. And the thing about this type of opposition is that they require a specific kind of approach in order to get a breakthrough. For those who don't know, yes, some problems, some tests and challenges will not go away after one single prayer. There are spiritual problems that need to be discerned, and they require a higher godly power to break them. Mark 9, verse 29 says, "He said to them, 'This kind can come out by nothing but prayer and fasting.'" This is Jesus giving us the battle plan for those stubborn spirits that come to oppose us. And the battle plan is prayer and fasting.
A prayerless Christian is powerless. Show me a Christian who prays, and I'll show you a Christian who's strong. In this life, we cannot get away from prayer. And a few points that you should be mindful of when it comes to prayer are, through prayer, the impossible becomes possible. Prayer isn't optional for us as believers, it's a necessity. We need to pray. We need to commune with God. We need to seek the Lord through fervent and honest prayer. Prayer is you not only obeying God's word, which tells us to pray always and to pray without ceasing, but it's us going into alignment with the life of Christ when he was walking on this earth. Jesus prayed. He prayed often. He went to quiet places, isolated places, so that he could pray. As people who believe in the gospel, we need to learn from this because there must be some importance to prayer if Jesus did it. There must be some effectiveness to prayer if Jesus did it. Now, I believe prayer is a pillar of strength because when you are going through hard times, the Bible especially tells us to pray. James chapter 5 verse 13 says, "Is anyone among you in trouble? Let them pray. Is anyone unhappy? Let them sing songs of praise." Did you get that? Is anyone among you in trouble? Let them pray. Other translations say, if anyone is suffering, if anyone is in great hardship and distress, let them pray. Why? Why prayer? Why not find a pastor and get them to pray for you? Why not send a prayer request online? Because prayer is when you as an individual go before God and humble yourself. You lower yourself in recognition of God's power. You go to the foot of God's throne and pray that he may have mercy on you, that he may give you grace. And it's in your weakness that God's strength is made perfect.
Prayer and fasting help to silence our minds, silence our appetites, and open us up to be able to hear the still small voice of God. The problem is not that God is no longer speaking. God is always speaking. The problem is that many times we are not listening. Prayer and fasting position us to hear the voice of God and see his hand moving in our lives.
There is power in prayer. So to the believer who finds themselves in a difficult situation, pray. To the believer who finds themselves in the middle of an attack from the devil, start praying. To the believer who finds themselves feeling disappointed and frustrated, pray. God will come through in your darkest hour, so let this verse be etched in your heart. James chapter 5 verse 13, "Is anyone among you in trouble? Let them pray." You see, the thing about prayer is that it doesn't have to be formal or scripted. You don't need to be the most eloquent speaker or articulate person in the world. Prayer doesn't have to be in front of an audience or the entire church. It's simply about daily engagement and communication with God. And as a believer grows in their relationship with the Lord, prayer becomes more than just a quiet time of communion. It becomes an intimate connection to the one who supplies your every need. It becomes a sacred time to speak to the one who provides wisdom and guidance, the one who moves mountains and brings comfort in times of need. Even though God knows our every need before we make it known, He has still commanded us to pray without ceasing, in fact. He wants us to have that open communication with Him and to rely on Him no matter our circumstances.
Prayer and fasting is a combination found frequently all throughout the Bible. It is a powerful combo of spiritual practices that many righteous men, women, and saints throughout the ages have found to hold great significance. I have heard many Christians complain over the years that they have not been able to hear from God. I wonder, however, if the problem is not God's lack of speaking, but our lack of ability to listen. We are surrounded by more noise, screens, and distractions today than ever before. Consequently, many of us are uncomfortable with silence. But what if silence is God's primary mode of communication? I believe one of the reasons we are told to pray without ceasing or to pray always is because we really ought to always be in communication with God. And you can do this in your everyday life. Everything can be an act of thanks, appreciation, and prayer. Every action can be an act of devotion to God.
Saints of God, when I say pray to win, I need you to understand that prayer doesn't just change things. Prayer reveals things. Prayer saves marriages. Prayer gives you that breakthrough. Prayer is communion with the Most High. It builds a relationship between you and Jesus. It guides you. It illuminates hidden, supernatural things, and it strengthens your inner man. In prayer, you declare that which is in the spirit realm to manifest in this world. Prayer releases the power of God for the pulling down of strongholds. It releases the power of God for the breaking of chains, for destroying generational curses, for the restoration of dry bones in dry places. Prayer is power. Prayer wins battles. Those things you struggle with, those things which you wrestle with, those things that oppose you, those battles fought in private, the victory is in prayer.